Good. Yeah, good evening. How many of you are new? Like you've never heard me speak, talk, anything? Few? It's a whole new. Oh, I get to act stupid tonight. Okay, I see what's happening. All right. Okay. Cool. It is. I appreciate it. How many of you? The rest of you have heard me speak before, so you know I get real. Like I'm real with it. I want to first thank Deborah and Parents Challenge. She's right. It's been about 3 years, a little bit over 3 years that I've been hanging around the Springs, hanging around the parents, and so I appreciate the fact that I've been engaging enough to want to be invited back several times. I appreciate the work that Parents Challenge is doing, and I just, I'm a big fan of school excellence. I'm a big fan of improving the capacity of parents to be able to navigate the system, as well as be able to understand how their young men develop from a biological standpoint, things that they can and can't really do, right? Like we tend to parent the way that we were parented, and that's not always good. And especially in my case, that's not always good. If I did what my mom did to me, I'd be in jail. All right, so we're not going to do that. So thank you, parents, for inviting me back. Thank you, Parents Challenge. I also want to, I know she said this, but I want to give a huge hand to my wife, Mama Joy's Creole Catering. Everybody has a spoon or something in their mouth. I mean, you're not even talking because it's so good. And if you did not get one of the ooey gooey cakes, you are wrong. Like you're wrong. I got to call the MP to lock you up because you don't even know what's happening. You got to get one of those ooey gooey cakes. It's just a whole nother level. Matter of fact, that's all they got. They knew coming in the door, like I already know. Chicken be damned. It is the ooey gooey cake. All right. So you got to get one of those. So thank you, Mama Joy, for doing that work. I want to talk to you, and those of you who know me know that we're based out of Denver, but we have footprints in 7 other states around the country. Keeps me in the air, keeps the planes going. But here's the good news. The good news is that we this year have expanded into Colorado Springs. So not only are we in Denver, we're in Colorado Springs now, and we're getting ready to push down towards Pueblo as well, right? And so for those of you who know the programming that we have programming around working with young men in schools. So we have our EAYD program, which is our Empowered Ambition Youth Development Program. It's a program where we go into schools and say, give us 15 young men who may need a little extra push, support, mentoring. And we take them through 18 weeks of our curriculum. It's social-emotional learning, student leadership, student voice. We expose you guys to financial literacy, learn about money, and also the arts. So we're pushing down into the Springs on that. But we also have one-to-one mentoring programs, whether it's in person or whether it's online on Zoom, right? So there are still some people who are just not comfortable being in person, and so we have the Zoom option, and we have the in-person option as well. So all of that stuff is coming to the Springs. I put some flyers on the table back there about each one of those programs. So at a break or something, you can go back there and grab one of those. Take it to your school. If it's the EYD program, and say, we need this here, right? But if you're interested in the mentoring only parts, then you know how to get in contact with us through what's on the flyer. Also, I believe in bringing gifts. So the gift tonight is a job. We are also hiring. So since we are expanding into this area, we have a need for empowerment coaches to work with these beautiful young men, and there's a flyer back there for that as well. That job pays $30 an hour. Yeah, somebody ought to give a hand clap for $30 an hour. The way this is going, so $30 an hour. It's back there. You'll be working with young men like this at a school. You go through the interview process, and we'll talk to you. All those things, and you'll get trained if we see that this is a good spot for you. So take a look at that. And there's also this card back there right here, right? So if you are interested in mentoring a young man, whether it's in person, whether it's through Zoom, whether it's through your phone, as we move into this area and start working with young men, we need mentors for them because every one of the young men we work with gets a mentor, right? So if you feel like this is something that you want to do, perfect. If you know of any young man, maybe it's one of these kiddos up here, one of these young men up here, who wants a mentor, there's a spot right there to click to say you want a mentor. And if you want to just get more information about what we do and get on our listserv, there's a spot there as well. All right? Any questions about any of that before we get into the book? Nope? Good. How many of you read parts of the book? Tonight we are here to mentor, to talk about 4 topics that I think are super important in the lives of young men. And this night is based on my book. The book is called Hey Man, We Just Talkin, Daily Conversations with Young Men. This book was released last summer during the pandemic. And was it last summer? This summer, during the pandemic. Whatever, it was released. And it has sold or whatever over 4,000 copies in like less than a year. So I'm super excited about it being accepted into the literature. But you guys are going to get this book tonight. I think I signed some copies. If you get a copy that's not signed, let me know, I'll sign it. But the book is called Hey Man, We're Just Talking, Daily Conversations with Young Men. This is a book that has conversations in it that I wish I would have had when I was a kid. When I was growing up, in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, trying to figure out why was I going through what I went through in life? Why were boys treated different than girls? When I grew up, and some of you know this story and some of you don't, but as I grew up, I was shot twice by my mom. I still got the bullet wounds in my arms. You can come feel them like I'm Thomas. I was shot twice. My mom was a drug addict. She was on drugs. And it was the streets who raised me. It was people who I knew from the streets who raised me, but it was teachers who saved my life. It was people like me who saved my life, who showed me something different outside of my 4-block radius. And when I knew better, then I strove for better. I wanted different. I started to hang around the people that I wanted to be like, because it's hard to be what you can't see. So I wanted to be around people who I wanted to be like. I surrounded myself with people who were already where I was trying to go. But it was difficult sometimes to even have conversations with them because none of them had been shot by their mom. None of them had to stand by the door and protect the innocence of their brothers and sisters because their mom was drugged out. See, you have moms and dads in here or around or cousins or guardians or whatever that care for you, that bring you to stuff like this, that introduce you to people like me, but everybody does not have this at all. So in ways you're lucky, but also in ways this is where you're supposed to be. And so it was books like this. This came out of conversations that I've had with young men like you all across the country about what mattered to them around these topics, but also from my own experience. And tonight I want to talk about 4 of these chapters with you. I want to read what I talked about, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. And I'm also going to ask the parents. I'm going to ask you too, if you want to chime in, if you hear something like, oh my God, I got to get in on this, right? I got to say something. Raise your hand, raise your chicken wing, whatever it is, and I'll call on you. Raise your ooey gooey cake. Don't rate that too high because I'll take that from you. All right? Any questions from the young men tonight about anything I've said so far? Anything? No questions. All right. But you're ready to talk to me, right? Yep. I know you guys, this whole table says ready. Y'all ready to talk to me, right? All right, cool. So the first thing I want to talk about is a topic called You Are Special. And I wanted to open the book up with talking about you are special because, especially in this day and time, a lot of people don't believe they're special. Especially boys. Sometimes we get the message that we're not special. Sorry, ladies, but a lot of times there are a lot of attention that's given to girls. And a lot of times attention is given to women, especially commercials and televisions. And, like you see people in leadership positions that tend to be women of all colors. And for some reason, I keep asking myself, where are the men? Where are the men? Secretly, every one of you get up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I'm something, I'm somebody. But somehow when you walk out of the door, you forget it and you cower. But where are the men? You are special. It's what I had to tell myself. Even in the midst of getting beaten, shot, I had to say, I'm special, I'm worth it. Even though the person who loved me the most or supposed to love me the most did that, I'm still special. It's what I tell you. You're still special. And I want to read to you what I wrote, and I'm going to ask you some questions. The first thing I said was, Hey, man, I just want to take some time out to let you know that you are special, how special you are. It is absolutely an honor to be a young man. You have the honor of being the head of your household, the king, the leader in your community, and noticed by all, as long as you walk upright. As boys and men, we are special beings. We are usually looked to for leadership, wisdom, guidance, provision, protection. Your mother looks at you to be the male figure in the house, even if your father is still there, because you will one day take care of your own home and your own kiddos. So I want to take some time out to encourage you today to walk in your maleness and be the best leader and young man you can be today. Take time to make the best decisions you can for yourself and the people around you. Your future is dependent on it. Now have an unapologetically amazing day. And remember, we are just talking. How many of you on the front row believe that you're special? Raise your hand. Give me a thumbs up. How many believe you're special? Good. That's a good start. What does this mean to you? When I say you're special, what does this mean to you? You don't know? It's a good start. I'm going to come back to you. It's called no opt-out. I'm going to go to somebody else. I'm going to come back and ask you the question. So think about it. You can't opt out.
That we're more than
You. Don't dare. You. What makes you special?
more than just a man. Like I have, responsibility.
You have responsibility. That's what makes you special right now. How old are you? That's what makes you special right now at 12. What responsibility do you have that makes you special? Chores, family. That means you're contributing, right? Without those chores and family being done, like there could be a gap in the family, right? Could be some sort of gap in what should be done, but because you're there, you're 12, that's your chore, you get it done, you're special, right? They would miss you if you weren't around, correct? Absolutely. Who else said that? Well, everybody said they were special. Why are you special, sir? Yep.
I don't know.
You don't know? I'm going to come back to you.
But I know that I am special.
You don't know, but you know that there's something in you telling you that you're special. All right, think about it. I'm back to you.
Like I have the ability to do things like walk, be able to talk, be able to do sports.
Walk, talk, sports. Why are those things special?
Because it's basically life, like being able to walk, being able to talk to people. Like
Are there some people who can't walk and can't talk? Absolutely. So that does make you special. But I want you to think a little deeper. Like what's your name? Devontae. What makes me special at how old are you? 11. What makes me special at 11 for my family? Like, why am I special to my family?
I love them.
You love them. So you think that without you, there'll be a hole. So that means that if you go out and make decisions to do things in your life that could take you away from your family, then that'll hurt them, right? So that means you got to make the best decisions because you're special. Like if I wasn't here, that's going to be a gap in my family. Am I correct? Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you were thinking as well? Go ahead, sir. I like the way you raise your hand. Come on, give it to me. You're the only boy in your. Do you have a bunch of sisters? You have a bunch of sisters. Yeah. If you got two sisters, a whole bunch of sisters. I'm telling you. So you're the only boy in your family, and you have.
My family name wouldn't go on.
Did y'all hear him? He said that he's the only boy in his family. I asked him why that's special. He said because if I wasn't there, then the family name wouldn't go on. I mean, think about the sense of awareness that did anybody tell you that? Has anybody been talking to you about that?
My mom.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you? How old are you?
10.
If I'd known that at 10, I'd be president right now. But he gets it. I mean, that's a real reason. That's a really good reason to understand that you are special. Okay? A couple more questions here. Why do you think that boys who don't think they're special feel that way? Because everybody here said that you feel special. So have you raise your hand or thumbs up or something? Have you come across a guy at school or a friend who don't think they're special? Why do you think he does not feel special, sir?
He was mostly like he didn't have any friends until I came up, and then I introduced him to my friends, and then he started to feel special because everyone he knew was like mostly different from him, and then everyone else he knew was like similar to him.
So he didn't feel special because he didn't have like he had friends. You came in his life, introduced him to people, then he started to feel special about himself. Good stuff. Anybody else got somebody that they know? I'm not asking for no names, but you know who? Tell me about it.
Kind of the same as him. My friend, he didn't have any friends. Nobody liked him because he was kind of mean to everyone, but I was his friend.
So what did you two do to convey to like dog, you special, man, like you cool? How did you get him to like feel good about himself?
I just was his friend and was there for him.
And you saw him turn around? So your presence, you were there. What about you? What did you do for him? Same thing, all right? It puts you guys in the place of being mentors in a way. Like you influenced him. So that means that if you have that influence over those two guys, that means that you have to govern everything you do. Like you can't be out there wilding out doing the wrong thing, because guess what they're going to do? Wild out, do the wrong thing as well. So not only are you responsible for your actions, now you're causing this cat to fall down as well. So it's a huge responsibility. Anybody else on this side got somebody who did? What you got? Tell me about it.
A friend who had a bad family life.
Like my life?
Not that serious.
Okay.
But yeah, they were very, I guess you could say rude to them, and that really echoed in their head.
So he had a friend who had a bad family life, and so that could make you not feel special. I mean, when I was going through what I was going through, I didn't feel special. I would go to school, and I would see my friends doing well. I thought they were doing well, right? I thought we were rich, and so I figured we were poor because of what they had. They were doing well. They had cars. They had the clothes. You know, I was wearing whatever my mom could afford or my grandmother could afford, you know. And so I didn't feel special at all. But guess what? Those same guys, I've hired some of them. They've went from calling me nerd and whatever to calling me boss and sir and doctor. That's a lesson in there somewhere. Stick to what you know is right. That's what Faola means, actually, in the sense Faola. Faola means good fortune walks with honor. As long as you're honorable, good things come to you. It's not about throwing your nose down at anybody. It's about just doing the right thing, right? So sound like you guys are doing the right thing. Sound like you guys are doing the right thing. Cool. All right, you are special. Good. Last question in this. Did you guys read this section? This was sent to you? Okay, right here. What stood out when you read this? Like, what stood out to you? I mean, no Jeopardy. Parents, y'all know Jeopardy? Anybody? No parents? Okay. What stood out? You say you read it too. What stood out?
There was like a section about responsibility. Yeah, you're just one of a kind.
One of a kind. No one has the same thumbprint, your attitude, the way you look, your DNA. Even if you're twins, there's differences about you. But you got to know that. In this day of social media where everybody is all on Instagram and TikTok and whatever, and you're comparing your life to them and comparing like what they got, people put the best of themselves on Instagram and TikTok. And the best of themselves is about 5 minutes. But yeah, there are people out there killing themselves and hurting themselves because they're trying to be like the 5 minutes that they see on TikTok. Don't let social media fool you. You're special and unique all within yourself. Within yourself. You are good enough by yourself. Don't let anybody tell you different. I don't care if you've been getting in trouble in school and had to get sent to a military school or had to get put out or what. It doesn't matter. You have special abilities on your own. One of the people I'm a football fan, so one of the people who I feel like got in trouble a whole lot was Odell Beckham Jr. How many know Odell Beckham Jr.? Okay. Right? What about, what was his name? Terrell? Owens, T.O. I mean, these were troublemakers who you knew had problems in school. Hiding phones in the touchdown. Like, come on, man. Get kicked off teams, strangling your coach. Like, come on. That didn't just happen when you were 35 and a millionaire. You just went down at 15, right? So, good. You guys seem to have gotten that the first chapter. We good on this? Anything you want to talk to me about with being special? Do you still feel like you're special? All right, good. Parents, anybody burning to say something about being special?
You know, when we were reading the chapter, or the little excerpt the conversation one, I don't think I've ever sat and told my boys that they're special.
Which one of these? Who you claim? You tell them now.
Well, yeah. But I was a little convicted. I'm like, oh, I've never had that conversation. I've got a lot of kids. And I don't think I've ever sat there and told them.
But clearly you see the value in it, right? Yeah.
It made it something to think.
Yeah, you are special. How many of you adults, I work with adults, and so how many of you adults feel like that you, on your job, like something you value is your supervisor, boss, colleagues, whatever, come to you and say, you did a great job. How many of you value that? Because some people need that. Some people need that kind of positive push before you say, yeah, but about that stapler. What movie is that from? Office Space. About that stapler. But yeah, so you want to feel special too. So sometimes because a lot of times that we end up hurting, and not hurting, but not corralling the people who are closest to us as much as we'd like to, right? We take people for granted, okay? Anybody else, any other parent? Thank you for that vulnerability. I appreciate that. Your mom, she knows she's special, man. You're special. So you should ask her every day. She got a car, like, what am I? Special? All right, so the next conversation was called Perspectives on Love. And this is actually one of my favorite ones because love, conversating with boys, gets a little bit icky, right? And that's why it's one of my favorite ones. So I'm going to ask you your definition of love. I'm just going to come down the table. What's your definition of love? What does love mean to you? Say it loud enough so all your folks can hear.
That someone actually cares about you.
Someone cares about you.
That like people are caring about you and like they love you like your dad or mom.
Caring about you, love you like your dad or your mom. How many parents, how many of you think love is an action, is a verb? Or just a noun?
I think it's
Okay. What does love mean to you?
It means like you care for someone and not think they're like, mean or, yeah.
Care for someone and don't think they're mean.
being there for someone when they're hurting and stuff like that.
This is an action verb right here. This is an action guy.
Like
You love your parents? Love your mom?
Yes.
What does that mean then?
Don't know.
You don't know what that means? I'm going to come back to you. No? No? Don't come back to you? No. We're going to dig in this love thing with you. All right, we're going to dig in this love thing with you. I love you. You don't even know you like that. But I can tell you how I love you. Right? What about you? What's love mean?
Friend in need is a friend indeed.
A friend in need is a friend indeed. Isn't that a song? What is that a commercial? Friend in need is a friend. I thought it was a song. I thought it was Michael Jackson. My bad. So okay.
Love is caring for someone that is in trouble and saving them, even though if it means taking away your life and saving them.
Ooh, that's deep. He wants to save someone else's life, even if it means losing your own life. That's a different kind of love. But it's love.
Putting someone else first, like if let's say there's this Lego set that you really want, but it's your best friend's birthday. Which one do you think you should do first? The Lego set or your friend's birthday?
Putting someone else's need first.
Even if it's on sale and it's a limited time offer.
He said something about a Lego set and your birthday and giving it for you, even if it's on sale and a limited time offer. Whose son is this? What are y'all shopping everywhere? What is this? What do you know about limited time offers? Lego fanatic? Okay, because he mentioned the Legos and limited time offer. Like, are you clipping coupons too? What are you doing? What does love mean to you, sir?
Someone who would give something they love for you, I guess you could say, like, or they'd sacrifice that over you.
Okay. Someone who, okay, sacrifice over you, give something. Okay, I got that.
When you care for someone or something, no matter what.
When you care for something or someone, no matter what. All good definitions. Here's mine. Hey, man, today I want to talk to you about love. I'm not talking about a love between a boy and a girl. I'm talking about loving yourself. I'm talking about loving yourself enough to love the fact that you are unique. We're back to that word. The chromosomes had to line up perfectly to produce you. Today, make it a point to show you some love. Find things throughout the day that reflect the way you love yourself. I know this whole conversation about love can sometimes be skewed and imagined as being soft. There's nothing soft about showing love, especially to yourself. The way you carry yourself in school and in life reflects how you feel about yourself. I read this thing one time before that said the way you treat others is a reflection about how you feel about yourself. So, how are you treating other people today? Are you showing them love because you love yourself? Are you giving others the benefit of the doubt because you give yourself the benefit of the doubt? Today could be a great day because you can make it one with love. Anyway, love yourself and love others. Remember, the world is counting on you to be a leader and a leader of love and to show love to all. Have an unapologetically amazing day. And here are the questions around love. When I say love, what comes to mind? You gave me that. Raise your hand if you love yourself. Cool. How do you show yourself love? I'm going to give you 20 seconds to think about that. I'm going to tell you how I show myself love, and then maybe it'll help you think about how you show yourself love. There are a few things that I love to do. I love to play golf. I love to travel, right? And I love to relax. I love to be in a relaxed state when I can. So whenever I feel like I want to show myself some love, I go play golf. We travel all the time. I'm lucky enough to have business all around the country, so I travel all the time. And most mornings, I open my days up with being in the hot tub and being in the steam room. That's my space for myself to get going. I wake up every morning at 4:30, 5 o'clock, every morning. And it's just me, myself, my reading, my writing, my reflection. Like, that's how I show myself love before the day gets going. All right, so I'm going to come down the line, and I want you to think about, how do you show yourself love? Because you got to take care of yourself. I'm going to ask some parents, too. How do you show yourself love? By not calling yourself names. That's a whole that's a whole workshop. So I can unpack that. Good stuff.
By treating myself with stuff and like buying myself stuff.
By buying yourself stuff and treating yourself. You got a job? No. Good. All right, cool. How do you show yourself some love? Buying yourself donuts. You got a whole bunch of employed people sitting at this. You mean your parents buying you some donuts? Okay, all right. Asking, okay. What about you?
Being alone and having some time to myself.
Being alone and having time, so that's important to you.
Yeah.
You kind of recharge on that.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
I'm 11.
11. Who do you live with?
That's my dad.
Yep. So how do you get away from everybody?
In my room.
Just shut the door.
Yeah.
He doesn't come try to knock on the door?
Yeah.
Y'all share the same room?
Yeah.
You kick him out?
No, he doesn't try to go there in the day.
Okay. Y'all got a system worked out. How do you show yourself some love?
Listen to music, shoot hoops, or pass the football with my brother.
Makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Replenishes yourself. Absolutely. See, you got into that love thing.
Being able to go home, do my homework, eat, and go to sleep.
So just make that decision. I'm going home. I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to sleep. Like, that's how I'm showing myself some love. So I'm taking care of myself. All right, good stuff.
Not hurting yourself.
Not hurting yourself. Cool. You ever thought about hurting yourself?
I have once.
I've thought about hurting myself before as well. Yeah. Sometimes life gets hard, man. It's like, what do you do, right? But we both found out that that's not the right answer, correct?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Boom. What about you? How you show yourself some love?
Getting enough sleep so you are not like, not like too tired in the day.
How many hours of sleep you get at night?
I don't know.
You don't know? What time you usually go to bed?
8 o'clock.
You go to bed at 8 o'clock. That's almost time you leave. And then you get up at what time? You don't know what time you get up either?
6 or 7.
6 or 7? Okay. You get a lot of sleep.
Take care of my body, like just natural needs. Make sure my day's fun, like interacting.
You work out a little bit?
No.
No? How you take care of your body?
Just do.
Take a shower and stuff like that? But when you're doing that, you know this is why I'm showing myself some love. If not, I want you to think about that when you do it next time.
Okay.
All right, what about you?
Resting and not pushing myself too far.
Resting and not pushing yourself too far. When did you learn that you could push yourself too far? What does that mean?
Like overworking or like doing too much schoolwork or
Doing too much schoolwork?
overloading yourself with people.
Okay. I wish I had known I was doing too much schoolwork when I was a kid. Parents, how do you show yourself some love? Anybody want to demonstrate to these young men how you show yourself some love? Now they see you now, so they can't be lying about it.
I go hunting.
He goes hunting.
Makes me happy.
Makes you happy.
I'm working.
And he's working. Hunting. Cool. Love it. What else? Shoot hoops. Shoot hoops. Love it. So you get stressed like this. I love myself and I'm okay. Who else?
I go on a run out in nature.
Say again.
On a run in nature.
Run in nature. Love it. Love it. Anybody else got some stress relieving, loving techniques? Lift weights and work out? Love it. It's important. It's important for us to be able to show ourselves some love. And so this is what this chapter was about, in showing yourself some love. Sometimes we care so much about others that we forget about ourselves. And so I don't want you to do that. All right? Are we good with that? Yeah. The next conversation is about pushing through. How many of you have ever had tough days? And today might be one of them, where you had to like really focus and push through because either you were upset at somebody and you may do or say something that you know you're going to regret, or it's like a tough day. You're not feeling well. Maybe you got into an argument with the parents before you left home, or your friends or your girlfriend, whatever it is, and you walk out the door and you feel like this is a tough day and I got to be able to push through to make it to the end of the day. How many of you have ever felt that way? Yeah. All right. So have I. So I want to talk to you a little bit about pushing through, right? Pushing through. Hey, man, there will be days when you just don't feel like being the man that you know you are. They can start off well, but something can trigger and just throw you off for the rest of the day. Your mood changes and your day can be very difficult in general. That's why today's conversation about pushing through is important. Say it with your chest. Pushing through. Let's all say it together. 1, 2, 3. Say it with your chest. On those days, you may find yourself treating people horribly, disrespectfully, and not as good as you're supposed to, and potentially harming a relationship that you value. The question is, what do you do on the hard days? Do you hide and not go into the world? Do you just let people have it because you're having a bad day? Or do you dig deep and you work through those negative emotions and feelings you're having? My hope is that you dig deep and recapture the man that you know you are. Emotions are temporary, and they sometimes make you think things are happening when they're actually not. They can make you think somebody's looking at you when they're actually not. They can make you think that someone is talking about you when they're actually not. So if today is one of those days, I challenge you to dig deep and be the man that you know yourself to be, and that you want people to look through. Have an unapologetically main day. So I want you to think about something, young man. What is one thing that you've had to push through in your life that was challenging? One thing. And I'll go back to what I told you about my life and my mom and being shot. I had to push through like no one's business. I was in the 6th grade when this happened to me. I was 11 years old when I was shot twice by my mom. I'm supposed to be in school learning math and reading and writing and social studies and football and baseball, but I'm running for my life. How many of you have had to run for your life from your parents? Don't answer that question. But I had to run for my life at 11 years old. And I still had to go back to school like nothing was happening. How do I push through? How do I lie? For me, ironically, I wanted to go to school because I knew that was my way out of that. I saw enough people who had graduated school, who had finished, who had done well, who was where I wanted to be, and I knew I wanted to be in school. When I walked into my 6th grade class and I met Miss Raspberry, you remember the people who make an impact on you. Each one of you right here probably can remember a teacher who you, up into your life right now, you got 6, 7, whatever grades, but I know there's one teacher in your mind, you're like, I would never forget this person. Am I right? What's that teacher name?
Miss Kelly.
Miss Tempest.
Food, I'll come back to you.
Mr. Crawford.
Miss Burnside. Mrs. Clark. Mr. Medina.
F2. Miss Wright. Mrs. Harbaugh.
People remember how you make them feel more than anything that you can say. And I walked into Miss Raspberry classroom and she said, son, it's going to be all right. I'm actually getting a little misty right now even thinking about it. Because even though that was so long ago, it was such a profound thing that happened in my life. I had to push through. I could have dropped out of school in the 6th grade after being shot twice. But I went on to finish middle school and high school and college and bachelor's degree, 2 masters, doctoral degree, book. I went on because of somebody named Miss Raspberry. So I pushed through. I learned how to push through. Because of how I grew up, I had to figure out how to push through. If I didn't, I would have been suffered long in my lifetime. So I want you to think about one thing that you had to push through. I'm not going to ask everybody, I'm going to skip around. But what is one thing you had to push through? It could be today, it could have been yesterday, it could have been. What did you have to push through, and how did you push through? You pushed through your homework. So homework's difficult for you. Okay, all right, you're winning. What did you have to push through?
My brother calls me dumb.
Your brother calls you dumb, and it doesn't feel good. And you have to push through that. All right, thanks for holding his hand or putting it down, whatever you're doing. But now you know it. It doesn't make him feel good. It doesn't make him feel good. What do you had to push through, my man?
When I was little, I cracked my head open. Instead of getting stitches, I had to get staples.
Oh, yeah, that's pushing through.
Down the middle.
Did they put you to sleep or nothing like this?
Nope.
Just cracking?
Screaming.
Jeez. Yeah, that's pushing through for real. What did you have to push through, man?
Last year I had to do distance learning and it did not go well and I still had to get all my A's and B's.
Did you get them?
Yeah.
I love that, the distant learning thing. We always talk about how COVID and like the distant learning impacted people, and so just to hear a kid say that is very, very important. We read a lot of studies about it, but rarely do we hear them talk about themselves. What did you have to push through?
We did this big testing on computers for 4 days, and they wouldn't let us drink our water during that for it was 2 hours of testing.
2 hours of testing, and you had to push through that.
Yeah, and I get really hot if I'm trying to
Okay.
concentrate and I don't get water, so my solution, chug a whole bottle of water before. We're not dead.
And then go to the bathroom.
Let's go to the bathroom.
Push through.
6th grade.
You had to push through 6th grade. He had one word, 6th grade. 2 words, 6th grade. All right, 6th grade was tough for you. Are you in 7th now? 8. Oh, man, you made it. 2 years ago, you're still thinking about 6th grade. I don't know what happened in 6th grade, but I'm glad you pushed through. You guys answered the rest of these questions already. It was already good. But pushing through is important. And here's why it's important, right? Because you're going to have bad days in your life. You're going to have, it didn't just stop with that 6th grade episode. It didn't just stop with taking a 2-hour test. It didn't just stop with the staples in the head. It didn't just stop with someone calling you dumb. It didn't just stop with the homework. These are going to continue to happen over and over again. Does any parent in here have any advice for these young men? Can anybody here willing to talk about something they've had to push through, and how did you push through it? Yes, sir.
I had to learn how to walk again.
Say more.
I had a guy run me over with a truck, tried to kill me, attempted murder sort of deal, and my whole left-hand side got shattered. And I had to learn how to walk again in the pool. And I'd say when you're facing adversity like that, you got to find something to focus on that'll give you that power to push through. You know, you can't just, I don't know, some people maybe they can just push through, but I focused on my kids, and I figured I'd get better because I wasn't going to leave without Dad.
Love it. I love it.
That's my story.
No, good stuff, man. I mean, some people could give up after that kind of stuff happened to them. People have given up for less.
Yeah.
So that's a great example. See that?
I got them boys, man.
Yeah, it's a great example. It's a great example. Great example. Anybody else? Push through story? Everybody else had good lives?
For me, man, just really growing up, having that emotional disconnect from my father, in the household, but the emotional part, like you're saying, letting you know that you're special, letting you know that, you can do it. I miss that, as a child growing up. And as a father of 4 boys now.
Who you got up here? Who you got?
Mine's are not here, man. They missed out tonight.
You're good. You soaking it up. You take it back. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, but as a father of 4 boys, that's very, very important to me, to let them know how much I love them. Even though despite, anything or, a situation that may happen, I still try to let them know that, hey, I love you, man, that, I'm here. And so that's a push-through moment for me, because, I could revert back, like you said, to how we were raised.
Yep.
Right, but I'm choosing to do the opposite and to be positive and to learn different ways to show that emotional affection towards them.
How hard is that for you to do?
How hard?
How hard is that for you to say I love you, you're special? How hard is that for you to do as a man?
Me as a man, sometimes honestly, just being 100, it is a little bit hard, and it's sometimes that, telling me to say it, but then I don't sometimes. But then I would, come back to saying it, but I may have just missed that moment,
Yep.
when I supposed
Yep.
to have said it,
Yep.
when I don't say it.
Yep.
And so yeah, it can be hard.
The reason why I asked that question, because part of the work we do is help these young kiddos, these young men, to redefine what masculinity looks like. If you're anything like me, you grew up in a community and a household that told you what a man should look like, right? Meaning don't cry, quit crying. I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Why you crying? Why you acting like a girl? Like that kind of stuff, right? So it gives you these messages that you don't know supposed to cry. You suck it up. Next thing you know, you got high blood pressure. Like all this kind of stuff that we don't even attribute to people understanding the definition of like, how do you teach them to be a man? And this is why it's important to you guys, right? It's because when you push through, sometimes we push through negatively. Sometimes folks push through by killing other folks. Sometimes folks push through by hurting themselves. Sometimes folks push through by cussing other folks out, by being disobedient, by dropping out of school. Like, that's not the way to push through. But I'm here to tell you guys that if you have an emotion and it's a tough day for you, like, own that emotion, talk to somebody about it, feel it. If you need to cry to push through, cry to push through. Cry by yourself, cry with your friend, whatever it is. Push through in a very healthy way, because as long as you're living, I'm telling you, as long as you're living, you're going to have days to where it's just bad, man. Your parents may do an excellent job in showing you, they might not even show you the stress that they go through. They may not. That they go through to make sure you got clothes on your back and make sure you got shoes on your feet and something to eat and make sure that you're in a space to where you can be healthy, you can develop as yourself. Because they may hide the stress that it takes, but they're pushing through. But I want you to know, and this is kind of getting into a little bit of a different topic, I actually call emotions, that you can own your emotions. Feel the way you feel, because you have the right to feel about that. Anybody here on this stage, on this front row, how many of you are cool with yourself crying? I'm cool with myself crying. How many of you have felt like I'm a little embarrassed, I can't cry to a boy? 1, 2, see? This is a real thing. Cry, man. I just told you a few minutes ago that me talking about Miss Raspberry was bringing tears to my, I could feel it like welling up right here because that was such an emotional time for me when I got shot and I had a teacher who welcomed me, who knew what I was going through, but still nurtured me because she had more faith in me going to where she think I could go than me succumbing to the moment. Do not be afraid to cry. If you got to do it by yourself, do it by yourself. But there's something about tears. For those of you who don't mind crying, how many of you times have you after you cried, like you felt a lot better? You're like, let's get that out, you know? Whoa, okay. All right, I'm back. What about the dads and the uncles or the parents, guardian coaches in the audience, right? How many of you have cried? There we go. Look around and see your people, man. They've cried. Just because you're older, don't mean you don't have that you're not human. But maybe that's one way to push through. How many of you had to cry to keep from giving up? I've been there. I've been in a corner by myself, just sitting and crying, and part of me don't know why I'm crying, the other half knows why I'm crying, and I don't know what to do. And then you get up and you're like, all right, I'm good. I got to keep putting one foot in front of the other to keep pushing through. So for those of you who raised your hand and said that you are embarrassed to cry, I was there once. I'm not there anymore. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. If you feel like you're embarrassed, cry by yourself first, and then, you saw your parents raise their hand. People who brought you here, people raised their hand. If you saw somebody that you with raise their hand, then you know that you can go to them and say, I'm just not, I'm going to cry. I feel it. Hug, embrace. The last thing, and I don't know what time it is, but the last thing, is death and your legacy. So it's true. How many of you know that one day we're going to leave this earth? Yep. No? You staying? You don't believe you're going to die?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? You've never been to a funeral?
To my great-grandma's.
So it happens. All right? So one day you're going to leave. And the question I ask myself, and maybe you think you're too young for this, but you're not. Because you never know. How many of you have gone to school with people, like right now, like over your last 6, 7 years, who passed away, who's no longer here? Okay, we got one. So you don't have to be old, right? The question is, what legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want folks to remember you as? If you disappear right now, like what do you want people to say about you? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about that. 10 seconds to think about it. I'm coming down the row. And I'll tell you mine as you think. To me, I want to be known as someone who left the place better than I found it, and someone who inspired people to live out their full potential, especially boys. Especially boys. That's what you should write about me. That's what you should talk about me about, period. And the last thing, not least, is that I was a great dad and I was a great husband. I took care of my family. So I'm going to come down the line, start on this side first. What do you want your legacy to be? Don't know yet.
Kind of like you, I want to have a family and make sure that they do good when they grow up and they can do the same or better.
Got it.
And they all learn, and that sometimes it's just really hard to do the right thing, but sometimes you just have to push through.
Push through.
I don't know.
Don't know yet. Okay, it's fair.
That if I was supposed to do something really, really bad, that if I have kids, that they don't do the same.
Okay.
Don't know.
Don't know yet. That's fair.
A fun, friendly guy and a good friend. And when I get married, a good husband and a good father.
Good luck. Good deal.
A nice guy, a funny guy, and a good friend. And basically what he said.
Okay. All right.
That I'm well known as like a good guy, and that I grow up like they talk about me about when some things I went through, and I was a good example for other things.
Good example for others.
To be a good person.
To be a good person. See, you guys, are y'all in 6th grade? How many 6th graders do I have right here? 7th graders? Any 8th? Ninth? All right, so 6th, 7th, and 8th. Do you think talking about your legacy right now is too early for you to think about? Yes, no? No? No's? Somewhat? All right? And because you don't know, it's not a bad thing. But the point is, the reason why this is important for you, because you are marching towards adulthood. And what you do today matters tomorrow. And if you want to be known as a person who gave back, who's fun, who's friendly, then you have to walk those things out, not just the last point of your life, but all of your life. And you have to be intentional about it. People say that we can't predict the future, but I disagree with them. I think that if I understand your habits and who you hang out with right now, I can predict in 2 or 3 years who you're hanging with and what you'll probably be doing. To a degree of certainty, unless something radical changes. Okay? Parents, it's to you. Does anybody here want to talk about what you want your legacy to be as an example to these young men? Have you thought about that question?
I want my kids to end up better than I do. Smarter, better character-wise, morally, across the board. If that happens, then I know I did something right.
Absolutely. I saw you had your hand up. You want his family taken care of? Absolutely. Anybody else? Sure. Thought about your legacy? Like, what you want to be known for? It's a good thing to think about. Like, for me, I hate the thought of existing on the earth and leaving and no one knew I was here. So what do you want to be known as? I don't know. Anyway, it's a heavy note to end on, but I love it, right? It's like I want you to walk out of here thinking, right? I enjoyed this session with you guys tonight. How many of you enjoyed this?